Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 594 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm your host, as always. I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Not gonna lie, kind of a bit. I've been feeling kind of a bit weird this week, you know. Well, with all the random stuff that's been happening along inside the gaming news, plus it being like the beginning part of a new year, you know, it just feels like it's a kind of a struggle right now just to maintain. Hey, what exactly do I want to try to do here right at this moment, you know, or like
Yeah,
what type of things should I be just aiming for in the new year? So I'm like, all right, well, gaming wise, you know, I mean, there's a couple of big games that are going to be that have already released so far this year, and then there's
yeah,
going to be obviously a couple for next month.
yeah.
But
It's been a big year already.
but yeah, it's just kind of like a weird in between. But other than that, though, it's been the usual. Been working, been at home, doing a bunch of other stuff, watching football stuff. But yeah, other than that, man, I've been doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, clanging and banging as always. Feel like today, I think everything the last few weeks, really the last few months, has been pretty active with work and obviously the weather and everything like that. So the weather makes my job more difficult. So
Mm.
the last few weeks, um, especially every week has just felt like a month. And I think, and then last week I had COVID on top of that. So
Oh yeah.
I've been still trying to like fully recover from that. So I'm not like I'm not contagious or anything like that, but like I still have a cough and like I'm just congestion still. So if I cough or sound a little weird, that's why. I apologize. I'll try to not cough in the mic, but dealing with that still. Um, but yeah, I feel like today finally caught up to me. I slept for like 9 hours
Damn.
last night, and then like when you wake up and like you just got drool, and you're like, oh man, I slept. I must have really slept.
Yep.
That was me this morning, and I was up for um, I don't know, like 3 hours, and I fell back asleep and slept for like 4 more hours. So I think it was just like which I never do. I'm usually someone that runs off of like 6 hours of sleep a night. If I'm lucky, usually on the weekends I usually get like 6 7 hours. So um, yeah, it was very much needed. I think it was like that was my body's way of telling me like you need to relax. And yeah, so it was kind of it was definitely nice doing that. And I got vacation next week, not this coming week, but the week after. So
Right.
really just feel like I am crawling towards that vacation because it's I need it. But yeah, no, I'm doing all right too. It's kind of it's just I'm with you, Go Gables. It's been a weird, um, first month of the year. A lot of big games coming out, but none of them like are really speaking to me. Really, and I mentioned like last week, like I've gone like 2 months without like actually like completing a game now. Over 2 months now. Um, I mentioned I beat RoboCop on Thanksgiving, and I haven't beat a game since then. And it's like I think that's the longest stretch I've gone without like in a long time. I can't remember when where I didn't like get into it, like really get into a game or start another game or beat a game. Like even like usually even out between big games, I'm like still playing like small indie games, but it's just yeah, nothing. I've just it's been a weird start to the year, and you kind of mentioned the news this week has been kind of weird too. And which we'll just top out on the off the top here, Gables, because um, the obviously everything going on with Activision, Microsoft, with the nearly with 1,900 people losing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunately something we talked a lot about last year, and unfortunately probably going to talk. Sounds like we're going to talk about more this year, and they're saying potentially next year. Last year we had over 10,500 people lose their jobs in game industry. Nearly 6,000 already in the first month of the year.
Mm.
Um, feel awful for those people. And I just don't at this point. I don't want to say I'm numb to it. I just don't know what to say about it anymore. Um, like it's awful. It's bullshit. Like it doesn't need to happen. Microsoft obviously last week became the richest company in the world,
Yeah,
and
after their
then
layoffs.
yeah, well before the layoff, like last week they surpassed Apple as the richest company in the world,
Right.
and then they
I
lay
thought it
off
was number
1,900
two,
people.
though.
What?
I thought it was number two, though.
Apple, they were number two and they passed Apple, so Apple's
Huh.
number two. Yeah, so I think, but it's like, I mean, we're talking about it's a very thin. It's like 3.25 trillion to like 3.19 trillion or something like that.
Mm.
So, um, Yeah, like literally like 8 days ago they passed Apple, and then the same week, like less than a week later, they lay off 1,900 people, uh, and they give $400 million to Bobby Kotick to go away, um, but then they got to lay off 1,900 people to make things make sense, and obviously always happens with mergers. We knew it was coming, um, but doesn't make it right. It makes bullshit. I feel awful for those people, um,
Absolutely.
and I don't want I don't I don't I don't want to get on my soapbox here to go on another like I think I went on like 8 rants last year about the problems with the Wall Street and stockholders and all that shit and being a major problem in the way our society is built today. And it's disgusting that the easiest way to make your stock go up is by laying people off. Stockholders more than anything love what outside of like the new hot trend, whether it's AI or NFTs or whatever. Um, the biggest thing, the thing they love the most, a guaranteed way to make your stock go up is layoffs, and it's pretty disgusting. And those people get bonuses because they made the stock go up because they laid off a bunch of people. Um, yeah. Anyways, it's bullshit and it's awful. And I think maybe just as disgusting is um, yeah. Obviously, I always try to remind myself the internet is not real life, and like you gotta think about like 99.8% of people in the world don't actually feel this way. It's a very small percent, and it's easy to be
Right.
a piece of shit on the internet because you don't have your name out there. It's just this fake avatar that you created. But it's just disgusting when you see people, that just love like they're a PlayStation fanboy or Nintendo fanboy. They just hate Xbox or whatever, and they use this as a way to like celebrate and dunk on Xbox or Microsoft or Phil Spencer or whomever. And like I will shit on a corporation like there's no tomorrow, just for funsies if you let me. Um, but it's fucking disgusting and it's awful. If you are somebody that like sees this and like this made you feel good because I'm a Nintendo fan or I'm a PlayStation fan or I'm a PC guy or whatever, um, you're just a trash human being. Um, please go away. Um, this you should not feel happy that this isn't just 1,900 people losing their jobs. This is, they have wives, they have husbands, they have kids, they have, they take care of people, they have mortgages. They mentioned one guy mentioned that his whole team got laid off. One just literally came back from their honeymoon. One just bought a house this week. Another person just moved across the country for this job just a couple weeks ago, and they're out of a job. And that's fucking awful and it's disgusting. And I couldn't imagine being happy because I won some weird fucking. Um, this is a weird notch in the belt of my gaming console fanboyism. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I feel like this is gonna happen sadly a dozen more times. There was multiple other studios like Embracer laid off a bunch of other studios and it's closed a bunch in the last couple months. Um, uh, people can fly. The people that made like Bulletstorm and stuff laid off half their team this week as well.
Mm.
Um, Embracer also laid off the team that's making the TMNT the Last Ronin game. Half the studios just laid off this week as well. Um, it's just shit and it's awful. And I feel like if you are a fan of video games, you shouldn't. This is bad for the future of gaming as well because there's people out there right now that are that are kids, whether they're middle school or high school or they're in college. Maybe going to college to become a game developer, and it's like, why would I want to go into this industry? And especially when you like what you've seen the last year plus, and what they're saying the next couple of years. So if you're a fan of video games, this is bad all around. This is only, and then on top of that, all the knowledge that there's people that have been probably in, like that lost job that have been doing this for decades, and that knowledge is just gone. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say on the Gables, but I just figure off the top, just talk about it.
In terms about the loss of employment and stuff for the 1900 over at Microsoft and Activision Blizzard, I mean, yeah, absolutely that sucks. I mean, granted, layoffs in general suck, no matter what field, no matter where at,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's fairly petty. People are happy about people's like jobs being lost. I mean, do you have nothing else better to do with your life or something like that than to go and just love the misery of others? And if so, you really need to reevaluate your soul because for
Yeah.
one, if this is what you choose to do, go online and stuff just to go forth and berate others, I mean, you're not much of a human being. I
Nope.
mean, I'm going to be flat honest with you. But when it comes to this in particular, I found it kind of interesting, not just because of Microsoft is laying off people and stuff, but because of like where the departments were, which was like fairly fascinating to me. Because you know how Microsoft's been trending now for like the past like what, how many years now to try to do all digital stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and I know a couple of different departments from what I had read, like what I had read around and stuff, had to do upon of their physical releases. Even
Yeah.
though they could still technically go forth and outsource some of their physical release stuff, but this is like in house for some of their first party stuff. So I
Yeah.
kind of felt that as kind of another notch of them trying to go completely digital. So it kind of made me sort of like have like a moment this week and stuff to where yeah, people's jobs got lost and that sucked. But another thing also sucks is where there may be a time, not in the not too distant future. I mean, a lot sooner than we were probably thinking that we're just going to have like all digital in terms of like video
Mm.
games at this point, for like console stuff. We don't know what Nintendo's going to be doing with their next system. I mean, we're assuming they'll do physical stuff, but for Microsoft, it's firmly clear they're going to stick with Game Pass. They're going to go and put out their consoles that they're going to put out, and including like the whole rumored console that was leaked during last year and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this just feels like another cog in like the long chain of events that have been going around over the past 5 to like 10 years and stuff, progressively getting to our point now to where the gaming industry is starting to shrink considerably. People are losing a lot of the jobs, a lot of which are now becoming like either like extras for like various stuff or like kind of like say not as necessary from some business people's perspectives or some just publishers perspectives because hey, a lot of these people like either not just depending upon what field they're doing in the realm of gaming, they're just their jobs are being axed, whether it's like in journalism, whether it's being like say localization stuff, whether it's being well porting or like just getting a whole bunch of physical product to release inside of retailers. It's alarming to see so many people losing their jobs all at once inside of a field that, you know what, it's pretty much the biggest that it's been.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, even with these layoffs, the gaming profits have been up, have
Yeah.
been, all these profits have been doing fairly well for these companies and stuff. But it's just crazy just to see this all like just going down so quickly, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Because if it's not with Microsoft, with what they've done this week, I mean, last week a lot of gamers were pretty angry in terms of some of the executives, and like one of the executives from Ubisoft saying that, hey, it's like just saying the silent stuff out loud in regards to the whole aspect of, hey, they don't want people to own their games;
Yeah.
they
Get
pretty much
you.
want them to subscribe to them.
I think it was get used to not owning your games was a statement. So
Which, with that statement alone, I could just say a giant fuck you because, hey, you're not going to tell me what I'm going to own.
yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of the problem though. Is like even like we talk about like um with with this physical like yeah you own the disc, but
Yeah.
I mean there's games out there that we own the disc for, but you can't play the game anymore. There's online
Yes.
games like they turn the servers off that it's like. And I think that that's kind of what he means. Like, obviously, you could say it a lot better. Yeah, it's, like you said, they're saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, a big part of the layoffs is because uh, everybody's scared of this recession that everybody has been saying forever is going to come, and it hasn't come. Consumer spending is up. Like you said, gaming is spending is still up pre-COVID. Like I said this during COVID. I'm not trying to say like oh like I'm not like the smartest guy in the room here. Like a lot of people were saying this, and I felt pretty comfortable about this. Was there was a big spike because of COVID. We all like it was like oh everybody's at home. People are playing video games. People are buying like Animal Crossing was a huge success. I mean it was not, I'm not saying only because of COVID, but COVID had a big part of the reason why it sold 50 million units.
Right.
Um, came out right when everybody was stuck at home. We seen everything get bigger and bigger. And I said at the time, like, hey, things will go down in 2021, 2022. Like things will go like it'll still be up from what it was in 2019, but it's not gonna. It's where it's never gonna see these heights again, or at least in the way it has been. Maybe it'll slowly go back up, but it's not gonna hit those numbers again in the near future. And the numbers are still up from what we saw in 2020, 2021. But problem was is everybody, these corporations lost their fucking mind, and it was like, we're gonna spend, and spend more money, and we're gonna hire a bunch of people, and like this is like, oh, this will never end, and like numbers are going up, but they're going up, but numbers are up 1 or 2%. They're
Hmm.
not up double digit percents like they were in 2020, 2021. It's just like, how can someone like me that just I read the news, I have a general idea of how shit works. I saw this like I said this, I seen this coming. Like, how can I know this is coming? I'm just a dude living in Iowa that I don't have a degree. I have a high school education. I deliver packages for a living. How is it that I know better than these people that get paid hundreds of millions of dollars a year to
Good
run
question.
to run trillion-dollar companies, multi-billion-dollar companies that are richer than most countries? How do I know this stuff better than they know this stuff?
It
And it,
honestly speaks volumes about them being so out of touch with what they have perceived.
mm-hmm.
You're right. When it came to 2020, during the height of the pandemic and stuff, gaming was making hand over feet a lot of product, like a lot of profit, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
these companies were banking on that high. But I feel like they did lose a lot of touch during that time because they thought that it was going to be lasting a lot longer than it was going to. But yeah, but still, they weren't very intelligent upon scheduling a lot of their future stuff because as soon as the profits started going down a little bit, they started freaking out and started cutting people's jobs
Yeah,
left and right.
yeah. I mean, and it's something we've seen. Like, I think part of it too is something we've been seeing right now lately too. The last year or so was like a lot of these games that were given gigantic budgets. Um, like we talk about like Immortals of AVM or Callisto Protocol. These games that were right off the bat, like these companies making their first game, give it 100, 150 million dollars to a game, and those games come out, and like Callisto Protocol sold like 2 million copies, and they laid off half the studio. All the top people had left the company. Immortals of AVM came out, and we don't even have a clue how well it sold, but apparently it's real bad. How well it sold, and they laid off half the staff as well. And it's just like, we see these games come out, and they sell 3 4 million copies, and it's just not good enough. Um, I don't know. I mean, with something that I think it's we're not going to feel the effects of this, what's going on right now, for a few years. I think a lot of shit that's emotion is already, like that train's already going downhill, or that snowball's already going, whatever analogy you want to use. Like, we're not gonna feel this, but when we get to the end of this generation, when we get to the beginning of next generation, when we see large gaps, like we talk about like the last like 18 months, it's just been an onslaught of great
Mm,
games. Like last year was one of the best years of all time. This year is starting off really hot for a lot of big games.
absolutely.
Um, and I mean, we're swimming right now in just, I mean, we get like, there's good quality games coming out, but they're like an 8 or 7.5, and we just gloss over it. And I won't be
Hmm.
shocked in a few years where we go back to where we were in, like, the really forever, how we were in like the
The
2000s, mid
2000s.
2000s, where like we were just begging for anything. I don't know if we'll ever get like at that bad again, but it wouldn't stun me if like there's like, instead of getting like three fucking big games a month, this is not sustainable. Like, we're gonna get when we get like 2 3 big games every month, or maybe we have a 2 3 month stretch where it's like, I don't know, something like a Strangers of Paradise comes out, and it's just like the hot thing for a moment, like for a couple months, because just nothing else came out that time frame. It's like, or like something happened just a few years ago. Outriders came out, and
Hmm.
like nothing came out before that or after that for a while, and there was like a 3 week stretch where like that was what everybody was playing. It also was on Game Pass, but it's like, I feel like that stuff is we're gonna see more of that, in a few years from now,
Well,
because
absolutely. I mean,
everybody laid people
Tyler,
off now. Go ahead.
let's think of it this way, dude. I mean, us as gamers, growing up during those type of generations where we hardly got like good like a lot of those hot releases as consistently as we're getting at this moment in time, we have been extremely spoiled with the
Yeah.
past few generations of doing so. It really has been since like that Wii 360 and PS3 era, from like that mid 2000s all the way up till now, to where we're seeing more consistency of not only just good games but just the amount of games coming out in general. And now
Yeah.
with the industry starting to shrink back a little bit, we're starting to see things kind of regress down to the things they were pre mid 2000, maybe not as extreme. But
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying
no,
is, in some points, this could actually prove to be beneficial for some games to get into that sort of limelight as well. I mean, I'm not going to completely just go forth and think of it as like more like a near negative thing. I mean, let's think of it this way: when we were growing up as kids, what were the games that were the most effective? And quite honestly, in my opinion, the games that really caught on with me was just those games that you would find in between the releases of like the big games that would be releasing down like 3 or 4 months later. So
yeah,
for example, if it's like say, well, this is an example that happened with me, like back in the N64 days. I was waiting for WrestleMania 2000 and stuff, but that didn't get released up until like around that late like 2000s, like early 20 like 2001. And I would keep buying like certain 64 games because, well, I needed something to play. So that's when I got playing games like, I don't know, Ocarina of Time.
yeah, yeah.
That was just
No,
one of those games, though. But the fact remained is during those times you were more kind of thankful of the games you would play because you didn't have as many, but there were some great quality games.
yeah,
Absolutely, there was some great quality, but different
yeah.
times, different standards from
Yeah,
go
and one
back
plus
to that.
back then we had renting was that played a big part of it too was being able to rent games a
Right.
lot too, and now we're like talking about physical media going away, like we're not even gonna have like GameStops around to even like be able to
Nope.
maybe buy these games used and get them at a decent a cheaper price and stuff like that, or even
Unless
like
you're
go
lucky
to
to go to like a thrift shop or like a
or
game
yeah
shop.
or like go to a Walmart or a Best Buy and like that game's on sale for $20, um, yeah so. I don't know. I agree that maybe like there'll definitely be some people will trying to find some light in all the darkness. There'll definitely be some people that maybe find some like benefits, something that might hit that normally wouldn't otherwise. I don't know. Maybe a game like Forspoken that wasn't that bad, but just got shit on. Um, maybe could have had like if that came out 3 years from now in like a Dead Space, dead maybe not Dead Space, but a dead period. Maybe
Hmm.
that could have had a better life than what it got because it just kind of came out in January and other games around it kind of came out and whatever. So I don't know. It's just shitty. I feel awful. I hope all those people can find jobs and
Agreed.
I hope something changes soon because it's not fair. It's not right and yeah, I don't know. But let's move on here, Gables. Before we get into the rest of the show, please, if you are liking this, you enjoy the show, please. We're not always like this. Usually we're have a few beers, joke around, have a good time, talk about
Mm.
we are
Mm.
two guys who love video games and just do this for fun. We have full time jobs, so we don't get paid for this. We pay to do this. We just like doing it. We love video games, obviously. And yeah, we've been doing this for over a decade, and we just like we're almost 11 years now, Gables.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
getting that's pretty crazy. But yeah, we're two guys who love doing this. So if you like all this, please follow us on, subscribe to us on YouTube, any podcast service we're on there. Drunk Nerds, Drunk Dash Nerds podcast. You'll find us. Really would appreciate if you did that. 5-star reviews, leave comments, likes, thumbs up, shares, whatever. Do all those things. We're on Twitter and Facebook as well. Just search for us. You'll find us. And yeah, appreciate if you did all of that for us. But Gables, let's move on to the rest of the show here. We got some better news actually to talk about here potentially. Uh, Gables apparently Death Stranding 2 will be getting some news on them in the next Bilbo Kuhn, who
Yeah.
is I believe I'm saying that right. He is kind of known like he every month leaks out the PS Plus games,
Right.
and he is right 100% of the time every time. And he's done some other leaks lately as well.
Right.
He's got a couple this week. One includes Death Stranding 2. Apparently, we'll be seeing that in the next week or two.
Okay.
And the subtitle to this game is Death Stranding 2 on the beach. So, um, and
Oh.
on top of that, Norman Reedus had an Instagram story, and it was a picture of his character from Death Stranding, and it said, I believe it said on the beach. And
Oh,
someone
here we
pointed out,
go.
yeah, and then Kojima had like a tweet like last, I think is either April or August, of he was watching a movie called On the Beach as well, and like he tweeted about it. So people are just kind of we're connecting some dots here. Maybe maybe Norman's having some fun with the video game audience, but I don't think he's plugged in enough probably to like he openly just talked about how he was making that game like 2 years ago,
Yeah.
well before like that game was ever probably supposed to be talked about. So I mean, there's been the long rumored state of play, but that's supposed to be happening either probably next week. I'm assuming next week, maybe the week after. I'm kind of hoping for the week after when I'm on vacation, so I can do a live react to it. But yeah, I don't know. People's like I beat Death Stranding one. It took me several years and a bunch of attempts, but I finally beat it. Um, how anticipating or how much are you anticipating Death Stranding two?
For Death Stranding 2, I mean, I don't really have any anticipation for this game. I did try out the first game. Thought it was all right, but at the same time, it was one of those games to where I got completely bored of it after about 20
Yeah,
minutes and never wanted to pick it back up again. But then
yeah,
again, that was kind of like how it was designed in mind, to where it was supposed to be monotonous. It was supposed to be like you going from point A to point B and then try to avoid the seas and all this other stuff, try to deliver packages and whatsoever. But in terms of its sequel, I mean, like I said, I have no anticipation for it. I don't know what it's going to be like, other than the what few things we've seen of the gameplay itself, if you could call it that, or or from what the little blurbs here from Norman Reedus and Hideo Kojima have been.
yeah,
But hey, you know what? I hope this game's going to be fantastic for people. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty much what I feel.
yeah. This game was obviously very split last time. I've talked about I'm a giant Kojima fanboy, um, but even like I said, it took me I don't know 4 or 5 attempts over like a 3 year stretch, and like I finally just when the director's cut came out, I think in 2022, I finally sat down and I put it on very easy. I used
Hmm.
like all the stuff that they use to make the game like kind of easier for people to go through, and I just ran through the main story to like because I loved all the everything else, the story, all the cutscenes. I loved everything else. It was just I did not enjoy playing that game. Um, and like I said, it took me like I think it was like about 50 hours to finally finish the whole game, and
Right.
I love all that shit. And I'm kind of hoping because like the whole main part of the first game was about like connecting America, which spoiler alert, you do at the end. I believe I don't know. It's a weird game. But you end up you accomplishing your goal and some other shit happens.
Hmm.
And I'm kind of wondering if like how like are we gonna do this whole package delivery thing again or I don't know. So I'm kind of holding a hope that maybe the game is not quite the same game that we played the first time, and maybe maybe they make it a little more actiony. Maybe they, um, I don't know. I just don't want to do the whole fucking walking through snow shit again. That was the part that really broke me multiple times was delivering in the snow again and all that. So, but I'm excited to see more of it. I'm always a sucker for a Kojima trailer. Sucker for pretty much just about anything he does. And I'm hoping that like I said, I'm hoping that maybe we he focuses. We change some gameplay here. We focus on um, I don't even know what I want. I just don't want to do Death Stranding again. I don't want to deliver packages. I don't want to fucking make zip lines and all that shit. Like I like the whole idea of like you work together with like people online and stuff like they like yeah like they left this ladder here for you. I like all that aspects of it. I for the love of God, please don't make me do that again. Because I'm gonna buy this game day one. I'm already saying I'm gonna buy it day one. I'm gonna bitch about it the entire time, but I'm gonna do it. Um, but I just don't want to. So I'm gonna hold out hope that we don't do that again. Gables is gone, but I'm just gonna move on to the next subject here, and I will tie him in 1 week when he gets back. But apparently, Bill McCoon also mentioned that that will also be revealed in the next couple weeks for an Until Dawn remaster. So no word on if this is a remaster or a remake. Apparently, it's also going to be coming to PC. And obviously, I think I mentioned, I think it was on last week's podcast, that they are making a Until Dawn movie. So I wouldn't be shocked if like this is to do with that most likely. I don't. Well, they just announced like the deal in place, so obviously the movie's not coming anytime soon. No idea if this game is coming anytime soon, but um, it's something I've talked about a lot, and it's something we've seen a lot of different people try to do with like really since The Witcher kind of really definitely changed the game up quite a bit. Where Witcher came out, obviously one of the best games of all time. I didn't play it, but I know like it's one of the best games ever made. Um, and the TV show came out the game was just as popular after that, and then like every season after that, like the game got a huge boost in sales, and we've seen the same thing with like Cyberpunk. The anime came out like right when like they did like the big update, and like that game was like more popular after that than it was at launch, and it got it's got obviously got more boost since then. We've seen the same thing with like we've seen Sony do the same thing with like Last of Us, where they put out that PS5 remake for Last of Us on on PS5. Sorry, I already said that. Um, in what September 2022, and then the game or then the movie came out, or the TV show rather came out, and that game got a big boost in sales. Same thing with Mario, like with the Mario games, like when the Mario movie came out. Like anyway, so on and so forth. We've seen this where like, hey, we're gonna put these games out, and they're gonna get a nice little bump in sales. We're gonna see multiple bumps because hey, we're gonna put the game out. We're gonna or like PlayStation's side, like we're gonna put the game out again on the new console. It's gonna get another sales bump, and then when the show comes out, or the movie comes out, it's gonna get an additional bump because it's a lot of new people are discovering it. So um, I I I can see why they're doing it, and like that game is, I think, I mean we're getting close to like was it 2015? So we're coming up to like 9 years here of that game being out, and I love that game when it came out. It was one of my top games of that year. I think it was like number like 2 or 3 on my top 10 list that year. I really love that game. I think it kind of came out of nowhere for everybody. It was like a PS Move game that got converted into like an actual just regular game. And I've always said that like uh, I just never understood why PlayStation just didn't buy Supermassive. They should have bought them, and instead they did deal with was it? Oh, I want to say Bandai Namco, but I feel like that's wrong. But anyways, they got bought by Tencent or something last year, I believe. So like kind of missed out on that. Um, but I'm assuming PlayStation owns the IP at this point, so they can just kind of do whatever they want with it. So doing a remaster, and that game had some technical issues at launch, so coming out, but assuming it's a remaster. I'm assuming it's just a remaster. It makes sense. I get why they're doing it. I would be kind of excited to play it again. I haven't played it since it came out. Shortly after it came out, I remember like renting it through GameFly. Remember GameFly people? I remember getting it through there like a month or so after it came out, and just like blown away by how good that game was. So I'm excited to see what like that game come out. Maybe get that bump because the game kind of took over for a good chunk of time there, where I like I said that game kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like that was like one of the first real big like Twitch moments. I think the first time like I really started seeing that. Gables, I'm talking about you were gone, but I'm talking about Until Dawn. Apparently, Bill Coon also mentioned that there's gonna be an Until Dawn remaster.
Hmm.
Kind of the same thing. We'll hear about in the next week or two. No word if it's a remaster or a remake. Apparently, it's gonna be coming to PS5 and PC. And obviously, they just announced last week that there's that movie. They're in development now. So, um,
Hmm.
how you feeling, Gables, about potentially getting a updated Until Dawn?
I feel like it's much needed, especially if they wanted to try to tie things into their movie they're going to be coming out with fairly soon. I mean, let's see. It would definitely make a lot of sense to have a PS5 remaster, considering the trend that Sony has been doing with a lot of their remasters on their PS5. Plus, bringing it to the PC makes a lot of sense too, because that platform definitely has a lot of like horror themed games and a lot of fans from that I would love to sink their teeth into playing that PS4 classic.
Mm.
So, yeah, I feel like it's definitely beneficial and it's definitely a positive to see another great game going to be heading either to the PS5 or the PC fairly soon, hopefully, if the rumors are correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had no idea. Like they just announced the movie last week, so I'm guessing that like that movie probably like they probably don't have a script or anything. So I'm curious if like we have no idea if it's coming soon or if like maybe they put it out at the end of the year. Um, kind of tie in with the holiday theme, and then like yeah, like it's like I was saying when you were gone, like the thing we've been seeing a lot now, where it's like they put the new one on the shelf, and then when the movie or TV show comes out, they get an extra bump later on. So they
Yep.
kind of like get that double triple dip on these products. So yeah, and it makes sense, and especially this like yeah, like I said, this game is this will be almost 9 years since the game came out, so
Yep.
it makes sense. And yeah, like, I'm as someone that's a huge Supermassive fan, I play all their games. I love all their games. Well, I shouldn't say I love all their games, but I enjoy all their games at least. Um, I'd be excited to play this game, and like Some of the people in that game are like way more famous now than like Rami Malek is in that game, which I completely forgot about. Who he played like Freddie Mercury in the Queen movie a few years ago. He was a bad guy in I think the last Bond movie I want to say. So he's a lot more famous now than what he was back then. I can't remember who else is in that movie, or that game, but I know I can see their face. I just can't remember their names. But anyways, um, you can just like plaster their names on here. Boom, like hey, these like Rami Malek's in this game. So that's so they're actually got some names now. So that'd be smart too. So I don't know. I mean, this definitely kind of leads into the idea that we're gonna get that state of play. And um, I talk about like I wasn't expecting much out of the state of play, a week or two ago. But like best thing I was hoping for was like a Stellar Blade, a date for that. So that if we get that on top of this news, I think that and potentially,
That really would be good.
PlayStation, yeah, PlayStation's like this. Obviously, it's still January, but I mean, this is probably I can't remember a time where we went into a year where we didn't have a clue of like we usually go in like oh we know what PlayStation's. There's always some surprises, but we always have like we always have one or two big games from PlayStation we know are coming in that
Right.
year, and we have we have nothing. Um, like there's a couple like what was that? What's that? Concord I think this was coming out this year, which we haven't seen the gameplay from, and may or may have gotten delayed. Which that's one of their games as a service games. So like the only other stuff that we know about is like third party games they have first party deals with. So um, but let's move on, Gables, to our next story here. This is kind of a little bit of a downer here. Nintendo announced, so they already announced this, but they gave us dates that the Wii U 3DS online store will be shutting down on April 8th. This means like online play and other functionality that uses online communication will end for in service for the 3DS and Wii U software. They did mention though that the Pokemon Bank will still be usable, but no idea for how much longer after
Hmm.
this. You know, um, I don't know how many people this actually affects. Obviously, the numbers will probably have gone up since they announced this last year, and it's probably gone up since they announced it this week. So there'll probably be a lot of people playing it on the way out, but
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's kind of sad, especially like, um, like I think the biggest loss probably is just like Mario Maker. Like that game is basically unplayable now. Will be
Well, Mario
unplayable.
Maker is pretty much unplayable, bearing like what type of levels you create for yourself. But
Yeah,
but yeah, that's just weird. That's like Mario Maker definitely is going to be affected the most by this. But thinking back with a lot of their online stuff, the most popular stuffs like say Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, the Pokemon games. I know there are definitely some definitely some games that people did enjoy playing online, like say Splatoon, the original Splatoon. That online thing
yeah,
is going to be completely shut down, even though for years it has been infested with bot. It's just been infested by a lot of cheaters, like kind of like how a lot of their leaderboards are still for their
yeah,
for their later games as well for Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3 as well. But yeah, the original Splatoon is definitely a trip to try to go back and play, and especially if you're going to try to like play the online portion of it. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
good luck with that. But with the Wii U and with the 3DS, other than like the big games and some other titles and stuff, you don't really hear too much about their service stuff besides like what was on their online storefront. I mean, what I mean by like say maybe their storefront stuff, I mean you would mostly use their online stuff to go and just purchase stuff from their stores from like various games, like different themes for like the 3DS and that type of stuff. But some of the bigger games that I used to play, I think on the 3DS and it's well, other than the Pokemon games, I mean, I tried playing bits of Smash Brothers both on the online storefront, on like just the online front for the Wii U and for the 3DS when
yeah.
those games came out, and oh boy, it is just the same old song and dance, really. I mean, lag, slow down, just kind of like what you would expect from a Nintendo game online that isn't
Yeah,
Pokemon.
yeah, yeah,
But it's sad.
yeah.
I'm sad to see it go, but at the same point, the Switch's life cycle is almost at its end. So tying up the loose ends with the 3DS, the Wii U makes the most sense.
like you said, these are not like a lot of people probably weren't playing games online anyways on the 3DS, and especially on the Wii U, obviously. We never had a huge like I other than like Mario Maker. I don't think a lot of games probably had a pretty. I mean, Splatoon uh, didn't have a huge online audience, so um, yeah, it's just it definitely sucks and it's sad, especially like Mario Maker. I think I'm more upset about the Mario Maker thing. Like I wasn't the biggest Mario Maker guy, but like it's definitely sad like how many like creative levels like and like that was just like that game was like a moment for like a while and it finally like
Mm-hmm.
it felt like there was like it was really like the last real chance that the Wii U really had to take off and I felt like that actually had a chance like it had a moment there of like the Wii U could be something here with this and it had a nice little boost but obviously ultimately didn't save the console but um man it's just like it's so crazy like that yeah one of the best games it's kind of like when Blizzard just kind of killed Overwatch. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like man, one of the greatest games of all time they just got rid of, and you can't play it anymore. And it's just kind of like you said, like you can still still create your own levels, but that's not the game. The game
It's a
always
worse iteration of a game that that they used to have. You know.
yeah. So it just sucks. Um, but Gables was kind of sticking loosely here with Pokemon. Uh, Palworld. We talked about it last week. Last week when we talked about it, we recorded last Friday, so the game had only been out for less than a day, and
Mm-hmm.
at that point, I think it already sold over 1 million copies in like the first like 8 hours.
Yep.
Well, since then, it's sold over 8 million copies. Last reported as of it's Saturday night here on the 27th. Um, over 8 million copies. It's become bigger and bigger. Obviously, we've seen like a lot of people out there talking about reporting on it to the point that Pokemon Company basically had to like say like, oh yeah, no, we know guys, stop emailing us. We've heard. Uh, so they said they're looking into it. Um, I don't know. It's kind of turned into a big case. Everybody apparently online now is a lawyer. And knows copyright claim and IP. Like everybody's a copyright lawyer and IP lawyer out there and knows what is and isn't illegal. Um, but I don't know. I played about 6 hours now, Gables of Power World. I seen you were playing it not the other day as well. Um, we're both playing on Xbox Game Pass, so we're not playing the Steam versions. But how you feeling, Gables? You're obviously the bigger Pokemon guy than I am. But how the time you spent with it, how you feeling about it?
I played a little bit of Palworld. Other than like the introductory stuff, I am notorious for not liking too many like survival based games, like say
Yeah.
collecting your resources, having to eat, do this and do that. So I spend maybe about a good solid 20 or 30 minutes on it and I just didn't go back because
Okay.
it's not my kind of game. Had
Gotcha.
that been taken out, yeah, I probably would be still playing this game.
So there actually is. So I'm not a survival guy at all. I did go through. So when you go like load up the world, you can actually change the settings, and like you can like there's sliders, and you can like not 100%. Like you still gotta like get like you can like turn up the sliders so like you get more shit when you like break up the wood like trees and stones stuff like that. But you can like pretty much pick that down to um, quite a minimum, which I like. I did that. I turned everything way up. So like, cool. Like when I hit trees, like I'm getting like they're breaking down faster. So I'm not spending as much time sitting there like punching trees, or I make an axe and I'm like not spending waste so much time, breaking up trees or and stuff like that. But yeah, like I'm the same way with the Gables where it took me a couple hours and then once I made like my pal base and you collect pals and like then they
Mhm.
like you can put them at your base and they just do that shit for you and they just collect stones and wood and like cool like I'm still getting my own shit but like they do a lot of that for me so then I can just make my own shit like all I gotta do is make my shit now instead of breaking down shit stuff like I but I get where you're coming from but all right so we are not lawyers here, obviously. I did listen to a podcast. There's a podcast to listen to called MinMax, MINNMAX. There's two N's in MinMax. Um, and one of the people on the show is actually an IP lawyer.
Okay.
And she did a podcast about it and talked about it. I listened to the whole podcast. They did break out like 11-minute clip on their YouTube channel if you want to check it out and listen to that. But they kind of break down like the idea of that and just kind of like her name was Haley. I can't remember her last name, but she kind of talked about it and basically like it is very subjective about whether or not this is like what plagiarism and copying all that is. Now, if they did like go into the game and find like files of like Pokemon, or find like, hey, they just kind of copy and pasted and
Hmm.
like just traced over shit, like obviously that is clear cut. But as far as like, if they just kind of took motivation from this, it is very subjective, and it is really just based on how the judge is feeling on it that day. There's no, there's no, I can't remember like the word, but there's no precedent to this ever. Uh,
Hmm.
so it'd be very hard to prove this. So I am curious. I really don't think it will go much further than where we're at right now, um, because Nintendo runs the risk, or Pokemon Company runs the risk of like, say they go to court over this and they fight it, and they lose, it's only gonna get worse for them. Because then it's like,
Absolutely.
oh, cool, like, well, they create a precedent. Now everybody's gonna do this. Like, big companies will get involved in this. Like, this is like, these people, like, this is a small independent studio that made this with like, there's only like, it's not a very big team that made this game. So imagine what would happen if, like, I don't know, EA or Activision or Xbox or PlayStation or any like
Hmm.
Capcom or anybody, like, hey, we're gonna make our own thing of this now. Gable, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sorry, you froze there for a second. Um, but I will say though, if you are a fan of Pokemon, and we are, but there's a lot of people out there like me that have been very frustrated with Pokemon games over the last, like, there's moment, like, we get for every Pokemon Legends Arceus, there's that Gen 4 remake remaster that was like the bare
Hmm.
minimum of work put into a game. Obviously Scarlet and Violet, we don't need to rehash that anymore. I will say this, that if you're a fan, like I was saying earlier with like layoffs, like if you're a fan of video games, this is bad. But for this, if you're a fan of Pokemon, you want this. This is good.
Hmm.
Like, it's so weird. People are getting mad at like, and like putting up arms for fucking Pokemon. Like, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They're gonna be fine. They're not gonna go out of business because of this. Like, it's gonna be okay. Um, but it's kind of like, as like, if you're a wrestling fan, like, there's a lot of people out there that like, just like, if you're a WWE fan, like, people just hate AEW because it's not WWE. But like, look at what happened to WWE when AEW came around. WWE sucked for like 15 years.
Yep.
AEW comes out and starts getting more people are buying tickets to their show for a couple of years there. More people are watching their show. They're beating WWE in ratings. And then WWE's like, oh, we got to change. And they changed. And now they're the hottest they've been in 20 years. And like as far like the in ring is better, the storylines are better. Like,
Yes.
now the ratings are up. They're selling more tickets. They're the most profitable they've ever been, because they had someone lit a fire up their ass. And I feel like,
You
go ahead.
you know what's funny as you're talking about it? I get the little blurbs of stuff of like people playing stuff on Steam and stuff.
You keep seeing
Yeah.
Dog's Eye play
Yeah, I
Palworld.
keep seeing
I keep getting the same thing.
one
Yeah,
of our friends, Alan or something like that, is just freaking playing Pal World and stuff as
yeah.
we're
He keeps
talking
logging
about
in to play
Pal World.
Palworld. Yeah.
But here's the thing: in terms of a potential court case or like a lawsuit type of thing, I don't think it would pan. I don't think it would really pan out because it's very hard to actually prove that they have went into and actually like stolen base things. Like they copied things like one for one. Because unless you were going to go into the files and they just copy and paste, sort of like what that lawyer was saying to you, I mean, it's going to be incredibly hard to try to nail that.
Yep.
The best thing I feel the Pokemon Company could do right now is obviously, I wouldn't say like not take notice of it. I mean, yeah, you absolutely take notice of this and stuff, but you use this as a lesson because this wouldn't be happening if they put more effort into their product. The better quality product comes from having competitors around you because those competitors are going to force them into making a better product. Because, like you were saying before, the last thing they want to do is the Pokemon Company to challenge this company and bring them to court and then lose because not only does it make them look like extremely bitter in the limelight, kind of like how Nintendo generally is when it comes to
Yeah.
any type of use of their IPs. in any type of fan games or any type of things. The worst fear that people have, especially when it comes to fans of games in general, especially those fan games, is this causes a precedent with Nintendo to just start banning fan games or trying to take them down because of like IP
Yeah.
issues and stuff.
Well, so did you already so there was a Palworld mod that came out and
Oh, the
someone made the
Pokemon mod,
Pokemon
yes.
they made the Pokemon mod and it looked awesome. Um,
Yeah.
Pokemon Company had it taken down the very next day. The point that
I actually heard that the website kind of that did was going to like host the mod and stuff just decided to take it down because they were fearful in terms of the
oh no,
repercussions for
no 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 no,
Nintendo.
they got it taken down. Not only was it taken down, people that tweeted about it, those tweets were taken down. Anybody that tweeted about it, they're like had screenshots and videos of it. All those gone. All those on all the videos on the internet gone. All those like
Oh
they
yeah.
went nuclear on any reference to this mod, like gone. Any article written about it
Oh
gone.
yeah.
So yeah, this was definitely like we know that like yeah, Nintendo, Pokemon. I know obviously
This definitely hurt them. This absolutely just dug into their skin with that point. But you know what? The best thing that the Pokemon Company can do with all of this is like what I've said before: make better product.
yeah,
Make it better than the
smoke them.
quality of the shit that we've got with the Diamond and Pearl remakes and with Scarlet and Violet. I've seen discussions now going around the internet that they're going to be doing longer cycles in terms of producing their next mainline games. But with anything that's going to be current down the line, that's obviously going to be like a little bit more questionable. But yeah, you know what? There's a reason why the Pokemon IP right now is one of the largest and the most profitable in the world. Is they've that Pokemon Company's been riding the success of this franchise ever since the late 90s.
Mm.
So, this is like one of their first major missteps with their mainline games that are finally like releasing to the point where they feel like they're just overconfident, like they just put whatever they can on there and it'll just sell millions of copies.
Yeah,
That's what it just kind of feels like. They can do bare minimum, put out their product, and then people will just eat it up regardless.
yeah.
And granted, yes, there
They
are those
did.
people.
I
They
mean,
did, they
Scarlet
did,
Violet is like one of the
absolutely.
best-selling Switch games
But
of all time. But yeah,
here's the risk that you run. When you do that, and people still buy that regardless. I mean, granted, in some cases, it's the gamer's fault for keep on continuously buying this, knowing full well it's a lesser product than what they
I'm
have been given before in the past.
I'm not gonna
However,
blame the gamers for it. But go ahead, go ahead.
well, to some extent, the gamers can be to blame because yes, they're still buying, they're still using, they're voting with their wallet to buy the product, but it doesn't give Nintendo and especially the Pokemon Company more reason to go forth and put out shit product when they know they could be doing a hell of a lot better than what they're doing because of their stupid freaking 3 year cycle or whatever the hell they have for their schedule for their
Yeah,
Pokemon
I think
merchandise
it's
stuff.
3 years. Yeah,
But man, it's just fascinating to me that Palworld's been in early access for a while. All this stuff, all the success. I'm happy that Palworld has gotten the success that it's gotten
yeah,
because that's pretty much lit a fire up Nintendo's ass and actually tried to possibly change some stuff what they're doing.
yeah, yeah. No, it's funny when I play it. All I want to do is just play Pokemon, like an actual Pokemon thing. Like
You want to
I
know
was
what's
like,
funny?
go ahead.
What's funny is you talked about that. I've been playing Palworld. That I started playing another replay of Pokemon Crystal.
Yeah, it's just like It was funny. I was like, man, I was like fuck, man. Like I want to go out and like buy like Pokemon Let's Go Eevee or something like that. Like and replay that. You know, like I was like because the only like Pokemon game I have like is Scarlet and Violet, and I'm like I don't want to fucking play that piece of shit. So I want to. I'm like god damn it. Like I like I want to like I want like another Pokemon Legends game like right now or something. You know, so. Yeah, it's
Do
just
another
like
replay of Pokemon Legends Arceus.
yeah, but it's like I just want. I'm like, man, I just want to play fucking Pokemon game again. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I'm happy they exist. I'm happy for those people. Like they're doing well. Like obviously, if they are doing something illegal, I mean, fuck them for that. But like, I'm not like I don't care. Like it's fucking Pokemon. They're gonna be fine. Like they're not gonna go to business because of this. Um, they're not like this isn't gonna really hurt them in any like even if it did hurt them like if less people bought their next game because of this, like honestly, you can make the argument that less people bought the next game because of how shitty Scarlet Violet came out. So,
Right.
and still is a year plus later. So, um, I don't know. I'm like I don't know if I'm gonna, how much more I'm gonna play of it. I did beat the first boss of Palworld and like I enjoyed the game. I'm having fun with the game. Like I said, the like it's just like I like it, but it's just not Pokemon. It's close to me. It's close for me. Like, but it's just like it's not the real thing, you know. But it kind of if it scratches, it's kind of scratching the itch. It's like I don't know. It's like almost like eating a little snack before like dinner. It's like it's kind of it's getting me by, but it's like I'm gonna eat these Ritz crackers, but God damn it, there's like I really just want that steak, and that's kind of how it feels for me. So, but hey, there's people out there I know that are playing it and like are obsessed with this game, and hey, good for them. But
Well, I'm happy for them,
yeah,
because
I just want the real
yeah.
thing, So, I want the real goddamn thing, Gables. Um, all right, let's move on here, Gables. Some other small stuff this week. Not a lot of smaller stuff. Um, so someone on the back end like found the source code for Visions of Mana on the Xbox store, and
Hmm,
allegedly, according to some of the source code in there, it sounds like it could be coming to the Game Pass.
that wouldn't surprise me.
Which,
I mean, come on.
yeah, but it's just
It should
weird
have
that
been to begin with.
it's weird though. Like they had it at the developer direct, and they like I thought when I did the live reaction to it, I'm like, oh okay, it's coming to Game Pass. That's awesome. And then they didn't announce it. So maybe when they announce a date, it will. But I was like, I don't know. It's just like I feel like the perfect opportunity to do it. But I don't know. But that's not confirmed. That was just in the on the back end. People's kind of seen that. Um,
Hmm.
next up here, I don't want to make this a whole trend every week where we talk about the Switch 2 because I feel like we're going to talk about the Switch 2 a lot this year. Like we've already been talking about the Switch 2 for several years, but we're really going to be talking about it this year. I did want to mention, so according to Bloomberg here, and Bloomberg's been really really good about with information. They announced like they kind of leaked the Switch Lite before it was announced. They leaked like basically the Switch OLED before it came out as well. They're saying that the next Switch will have an 8-inch screen, which is bigger than the current Switch, and will be using 8-inch LCD screen, so no OLED. So um, some I think it's they've already talked about before, but it sounds like they're pretty confident in this time. This tells me that in like 2 years, they're gonna make everybody rebuy another Switch with the OLED model.
What it tells me is they looked upon the sales. The ones with the LCD screens are absolutely the ones that sold the most.
Yeah, yeah,
The OLED screens definitely did sell pretty good, but at the same time, it makes a lot of sense that at launch you want the LCD screen as well as the bigger screen precedented with this new model, this successor to the Switch. But it also tells me that hey, they are firmly confident in terms of what they want to do for like the screen setup itself. It's not going to be as much cost coming out from the launch and stuff as it would be for like an OLED screen.
mm,
Would people would have wanted an OLED screen at launch? Absolutely.
yeah,
But this is just basically kind of like the first inklings that we have heard about in terms of like say the actual screen that it could potentially launch with plus the size. I mean, 8-inch screen, dude. I mean, that's not bad.
no,
That's definitely
no,
more than what we got going for like the Switch and the Switch OLED in that retrospect. But God, I'm just trying to imagine it right now, and it's just like just having like this big monstrosity of like a tablet or something like right
yeah,
in front of my face,
fucking
dude.
iPad. Yeah, no, I like I said, yeah, it's gonna be cheaper. They want to just mass produce this. Like that's the big thing is like they want to like they want to make sure that like they have a bunch in stock. They're kind of like taking the lessons of like the PlayStation and Xbox coming out of the gate last time, and then also kind of how it was for them when when the Switch launched in spring of 2017, where
Right.
the biggest issue really was just getting it. So they want to make sure there's enough out there out the gate. So maybe having an LCD screen obviously it's cheaper. Maybe I don't obviously we don't know how manufacturing works, but probably it might be easier to get an LCD screen than OLED. And then like I said, nobody Nintendo loves making people buy their shit again.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
they love putting out collector editions of like they're of like I mean we saw they had a big bump last year when they put out the Tears of the Kingdom Switch Switch.
Yeah.
Um, Gables has one. Um,
Yep.
my best friend Justin I think has bought like five fucking Switches. Multiple Zelda ones. He's bought the OLED. He's bought the
The
um,
Joy
I
Cons, the
still
this and
rock.
that.
I got mine on launch, and I still am rocking that one. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So I mean, like I said, Nintendo loves making people buy their stuff again. So I would not be shocked in 2026, 2027, there is a Switch OLED that costs $50 more. So,
Because what we're kind of expecting, is sort of like them to obviously have it at like a higher cost than what they do with the current Switch, So like that 400, maybe that 450 range,
yeah,
with what they got going alongside the current specs. I think they're maybe trying to take a more Steam Deck like approach to it, where it's like you see how like the baseline Steam Deck is sort of like around that price range right at the moment.
yeah,
But yeah, that's pretty much the base of what we're expecting though from without even like knowing anything concrete. We're expecting this thing to be even more expensive than the original
yeah.
Switch.
I felt 400 for a while.
Yeah,
So
well, absolutely, it makes sense. It does,
yeah,
but yeah, let's just wait and see what else is it's
yeah.
legitimately like shown off and stuff in the coming months.
Yeah, like I said, I think most people are over talking about the Switch 2 until we see it, but
Yeah,
we're definitely gonna make it a trend to talk about it. But this seemed like something worth talking about on this end, so um, we'll wait because I really don't want to like we did like the Switch Pro shit for years. Remember we did the every week there was like the 3D print model of that someone made of a Switch, so we freaked out every week for like it felt like a year on that.
dude,
So I really don't have
I'm
the
of the
energy to do it again.
mind, Tyler. I'm of the mind is unless Nintendo does a complete unveiling during a random weekday, I don't think we really need to talk about too much
Yeah,
about Switch 2.
unless it's like if it's like Jason Schreier or Bloomberg or Jeff Grubb saying something,
Credible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's like somebody absolutely credible, yeah, I definitely don't want to make it a huge thing until then. Then last but not least, this is a short one. By the time this like we talk about like really like you probably hear this, probably already obsolete. Apparently, it's been reported. It's already been openly told by IGN and a couple other places that a few other places, quite a few places, that Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. So the main like if you buy the main edition, it comes out Friday, next Friday
Hmm.
the second. I believe if you buy like the deluxe edition, I think it comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday. So as of right now, no review codes have been given out, and a lot of sites have already been told they're not getting review codes at all. So
Ooh.
the places that are
Ooh.
getting review codes are getting review codes when the early access or the digital deluxe edition comes out, which I think, like I said, Tuesday or Wednesday. Those other places will be getting codes. Basically, it sounds like so. I did a preview a couple weeks ago, um, and basically nobody liked the preview. So a lot of the places that did the preview are just like WB just not giving them a code. So they like so WB is being the people that whoever's in charge of giving out codes are being extremely petty, and not giving out codes to the people that didn't like the preview part. So obviously like it's a PR company, their job is to make the game look as good as possible, and the only way
Yep.
to make this game look as good as possible is just not giving out codes for people to play this game pre-launch. So um, take this for
Yeah.
what you will, but if you are, I feel like if there was any I was like trying to talk myself into like maybe this game will be okay. Like I don't think this game will be bad. I still expect like all right, Gables. Let's see right now. Obviously, there won't be
Okay.
reviews up, probably until a couple weeks from now. What do you think if you had to give an Open Critic score right now? What do you think it will end up at?
65.
I was gonna say like 68. So I think we're kind of in that same idea. Like people freak out. 60 game in the 60s is not terrible. It's
No,
just not great. It's like
it's
there's
average.
yes, look, we freak out like sometimes like 70 I feel like is like average. So like now if it's like in the 50s, that's bad. And that's kind of where I think this game will be at. Like I was like, man, like maybe this game
Yes.
is like a seven. Like I was thinking like a 75, maybe kind of now, but like with this, I'm like, oh fuck, maybe it's like, all right, maybe it's a lot worse than we thought. I feel like the story's actually pretty good. I wouldn't be shocked if like the gameplay is fine. I just feel like everything else is just not going to be fun. Um,
I will
so
tell you this, Tyler. I would be deeply surprised and very happy if this game scored above 70.
yeah, I want this game to be good. Like I
Absolutely.
was I bought Forspoken on day one because I was like, there's no way. Like, and that game came out, it's like a 67, you know. But I was like, man, like, and like, I don't know. I thought the game was like just completely like was fine. But I was like, I want Suicide Squad. It's fucking these people that made the Batman Arkham games and they're awesome. It's like I want this
Right.
game to be good, you know. And they got it sounds like they got rid of like the paid battle pass. Like they've gotten rid of like there's gonna be like cosmetics you can buy, but they got rid of all like the games of service part of like battle passes. Like there will be like
They took the initial year to do that,
yeah,
too.
yeah. So they definitely change like listen and try to get rid of that shit. But like there's obviously but the problem is like it took the extra year to like probably change up some of the core designs, but it's too late to take out the games of service part. So I don't know. I'm still trying to hold out hope. I don't know why. I just don't want. I'm not. I don't think the game will be good, but I don't want. I'm not ready to admit the game will be bad. So I don't know
Hmm.
why. I just want it to be good. I don't know. It's weird, especially it's the last. Oh fuck, Kevin, Con, no,
Conroy.
yeah. It's his last time as Batman. It's like, come on,
Hmm.
man. Like, make it good. Let it be good. Um, but all right, Gables. Let's jump on what we've been playing here. Do you want to go first, buddy?
Yeah, I'll go
Okay.
first.
All
I've
right.
only been playing one game, and like
Okay.
I was saying, it was the replay of Pokemon Crystal.
Okay.
I've been enjoying it a lot more during this time around for some reason, and I think that mostly has in large part to do with the past previous time I played through Pokemon Gold. I only used one Pokemon, and that was a Chikorita, which I used in the entirety of the playthrough. Managed to get all the way up to Red, beat Red with just a Chikorita at level 100. But yeah, this one I wanted to do a replay of Pokemon Crystal, and I wanted to have the idea of just doing a couple different things new that I hadn't done before. So I tried using out different Pokemon that I don't normally play, just to give it like some thought and stuff. Like I had an Unown in my team at one point. I got up to level 15. It had a good hidden power like typing of Bug, which that's good against like psychic types and like grass types and stuff. But in the early to mid portion of the game, it just really wasn't that useful. So I ended up boxing that. I've used I caught a Hoot Hoot, evolved into a Noctowl. Noctowl really doesn't have a lot of good move selection during that. Just in general, not until like you get to like the later part of the game, or even like some like the after game stuff. It only has access to like a flying type move, like in Peck, up until you get like the HM from Cyanwood and stuff past Olivine City. So you get the TM after you beat that gym leader. Only until then, though, can you actually learn a decent flying type move. But Noctowl's move set is fairly restrictive, so I ended up like boxing Noctowl. But my current team right now, my I currently have this Croconaw that my starter. So I went with Totodile, now with Croconaw. It's close to like about the late 20s or so, like the mid to late 20s. I have I ended up getting this odd egg. That's why I wanted the daycare and stuff. Pokemon Crystal, you can actually get access to not just one but two eggs. One of them hatches into a Togepi, but this one hatches into a Magby. It could be one of a couple different Pokemon. Like you could get like say an Igglybuff, a Cleffa, or some the pre-evolved forms of classic Pokemon, like say Jigglypuff, Clefairy, like the pre-evolved forms of like Magmar or like Electabuzz and stuff. I got the pre-evolved form of Magby. So what's fun about Magby is you can teach it the elemental punches, and because it's Generation 2, those type of punches are considered special attacks. And Magmar is great with special attacks. As a matter of fact, its physical and its special attacks are nearly like equal. So you could do like a mix sort of thing with it. So I want to have complete Magmar on my team. I have my starter. I decided to do something different. I went into Mount Mortor, right? And inside this cave, you have a bunch of Zubat and stuff. But inside of Pokemon like Crystal, this does something that no other Pokemon game I've seen do really. And you have Pokemon that have evolved before their actual level. Like for example, you can encounter a Pidgeotto or some in the wild, and it'll be like level 13. Usually, Pidgeotto doesn't evolve from a Pidgey until like level 18. I caught a level 13 Golbat inside of Mount Mortar, which it takes like till 28 in order to evolve it normally. So I gave it the nickname of Batfink. I want to try to go and evolve it into a Crobat, and so I've been investing a lot of my time just trying to get all this like experience, all this like affection stuff, because the only way the Golbat evolves into Crobat is if you get the affection to like over like 220, I think. And it's a very big process. You have to have the Pokemon win like important battles in the story, like say defeating a gym leader or defeating members of Team Rocket or whatsoever. You have to give it like potions. You can't allow it to faint. It's very particular in Generation 2 how you evolve a specific Pokemon to the one you want. There's only a handful of them that do that. Crobat is one of the Pokemon. Espeon and Umbreon are two different Pokemon that kind of like have that sort of thing as well. But yeah, man. Like other than that, though, I've been using Haunter. I finally evolved my Gasoline to Haunter. It knows Shadow Ball now, and it knows Nightshade. I mean, that's awesome. But yeah, I've just been taking my time. I've gotten 4 gym badges. I'm actually no 5 gym badges now because I beat the ghost type gym leader Morty pretty handily with Batfink. All I had to do was use Bite, and well, it was like at level 28 or something like that. I just take out Gengar, Haunter, and the freaking Ghastly that he had without them using Curse. Which using the move Curse on a ghost Pokemon, all it does is like it sacrifices a bit of their HP, but it curses the Pokemon to where it starts whittling away like health from your Pokemon until it finally faints. So did that. Went to that island, like the Cyan Woods, like city and stuff. Got the 5th gym badge. Currently, I am leveling up my party so that I can face off against Olivine City Gym Leader like Jasmine and stuff with her Steelix. Steelix is going to be a pain in the ass to beat because it's part steel, it's part ground. The only thing that really affects it really is like water type attacks and also some ground attacks, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, I'm like about 13, 14 hours into this playthrough. I am enjoying myself. I'm finding different things I forgot about, like encountering certain NPCs, encountering like certain like other parts of this version that I'm really enjoying. Like this whole side thing with this one NPC by the name of Yashin, right? And he is pivotal to like the overall story for Pokemon Crystal because he's the one that's after Suicune. Suicune is on the cover of Pokemon Crystal for those that don't know or never played the original Game Boy Color game. And the thing about it is Suicune is better in this game as opposed to the Gold and Silver because it has new moves, it has more emphasis inside the story. It's Crystal is pretty much the de facto like best version of Gold and Silver. Like it's the better ports, like how Emerald was for Ruby and Sapphire, how Platinum was over like say Diamond and Pearl. This is the thing that started the trend where the third game inside that generation thing started becoming like better, really, instead of just like minor Pokemon swaps or just random elements of it. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. But how about you, Tyler?
Same, really the same thing. I've been playing, played some, the Power World. Obviously, I talked about already.
Hmm.
The Fortnite, the Solid Snake skin came out, and
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah, I unlocked him. He's just part of the battle pass. You just gotta do some missions. I unlocked him, and there's like some other stuff you can do with him. There's other things like you can unlock like his knife. You can unlock there's actually like a second page you can do where you can unlock like Old Snake from Metal Gear Solid 4, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
And you unlock the little robot dude from Metal Gear Solid 4.
Nice.
Raiden is a character you can buy in there, so I just went and bought his skin. So it's kind of cool running around with him, and it's kind of cool. They added some like stuff to like the main game where like you can find the cardboard box and you can hide in that in the game, or you can
Oh,
like place it as like a distraction and shit.
one
Um,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Can you buy Naked Raiden in that game?
No, unfortunately, you
Could do
cannot. At least,
cartwheels.
no. Dude. I wish. I wish. Um, yeah. Fuck. Man, I would be using him exclusively from now on. Um, but yeah, man, that'd
Instead
be
of
awesome.
first line of sight, and all of a sudden he just ran him just a cartwheel.
You just yeah, someone's going to like snipe, and you just see me fucking doing like cartwheels. And you never gonna catch me. But yeah, Jack. We could see your balls. Anyways, be awesome. You know, Rose is on the other side of the sniper. Anyways, I don't know. Like it was kind of cool going and unlock. I unlocked regular Snake. I'm working on getting old Snake as well. So there's like 10 different things you can unlock for him. Like you get the alert and stuff like that. So it's cool. It was definitely worth jumping into the season 4. So happy with all that. And then I've been playing more Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. Uh,
Mm.
Definitely, like I said, it's been a long week, so I haven't had time to play during the week. So I just got to day 3 of Seattle with Ellie. So
Ah, I know
still
where
got
you're at.
quite a ways to go. I forgot just how brutal day 2 is of Seattle. It's just one long stretch of different battles. There's like the whole part like you're in the sewer with like the clickers and like, I'm not gonna spoil the main game, so don't worry about that. But just minor spoilers here. There's like the part where you're like in the sewer, or not the sewer, but in the subway with the clickers and the wolves. And then like there's when you actually like meet the scars for the first time, is what like scared the shit out of me, even though I knew it was coming. Like just a brutal moment and like one of the scariest bad guys ever invented in video games to me. Just like they communicate by whistling, so you have no idea what the fuck they're telling each other. Uh, so yeah, like and just the whole part when you get to the hospital, that part is just heavy. It's just it's not a fun game. It's a hard game. It's a tough game to get through on a mental standpoint. I mean I love the story. I love the characters. I think the gameplay is awesome. Yeah, it's like I said last week. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's just kind of exciting. Like I talked about last week, is like I've forgotten so much of that game just because I tried to play it so quickly because I was so worried about being spoiled that like
Hmm.
there's just so much of this game that I just completely don't remember. I didn't remember, or just kind of like vaguely remember. So it's kind of fun just going through and really just like really like soaking everything in and like paying a lot more attention. Like 'cause now like I know where the story goes. I know how everything kind of ends. So now I'm just like, it's kind of when you rewatch a movie that you really enjoyed, like on multiple, like you kind of get more out of it as multiple playthroughs or multiple watches of a movie. Kind of the same idea. And I'm just getting more out of it, getting more out of like the stories, like the reading the notes that you find that happen, like before you got to these areas. So, um, yeah, just going through that again. Definitely, I don't know. If it's gonna be probably a little bit because this is like a long game. I'm not even halfway yet. So, but yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. So, really happy. It was definitely worth the $10 upgrade for me. So,
Mm.
but that's all I've been playing. So, um, be another big. Are Gables Persona 3 Reload coming to Game Pass next week? Checking that out.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
most definitely.
Yeah.
I actually forgot it was releasing next week.
Yeah. Coming out same day as Suicide Squad. So, you got a big choice there. What are you gonna play? Um, Yeah, so I don't know. I figure coming to Game Pass, I'm gonna at least. I think I'll probably at least dabble in it. So I don't know if I'm gonna really invest in it, but I at least want to. I don't know, sink a few hours into it, see how I feel about
I
it. So
definitely want to play it before other people have a chance to talk about it online because I kind of want to just enjoy this game kind of blind.
yeah, yeah, so it looks pretty good. I was watching some trailers and stuff on it, so like, oh, cool. Well, at least want to check it out. So, but yeah, we'll be back next week with another episode. Thank you guys for listening. Please check us out YouTube, any podcast servers, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all those places. Like, follow, subscribe, comments, 5 stars, whatever you do, shares. Tell your friends. There is description down below. There are links to all those places, so just click on that and take it right to them and do all those things for us. But I was host. I was Tyler.
I've been Colonel Gables, so until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
Thank you, Gills.
Yep,
Too sweet.
too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.